If you can't find a job, make your own. That seems to be the trend with Generation Y, or the millennials, as social scientists like to call them. Recent college grads who face dismal prospects for full-time employment in the traditional marketplace find new paths to self-sufficiency, if not prosperity. Joining me to discuss the business climate for young professionals in Pennsylvania is Matt Crocker, Assistant Vice President at Crossgates Incorporated, a real estate development and property management company. Matt also co-chairs the Harrisburg Young Professionals Membership Committee. HYP helps recruit educated workers and companies to come to South Central Pennsylvania. And Bill Craig, owner of WebpageFX, a web design, internet marketing, and search optimization company. He'll explain exactly what that is in a minute. Of course, we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 1-800-729-7532. You can shoot us an email at smarttalk@witf.org or post to WITF's Facebook page. Bill, you won Entrepreneur of the Year in 2010 from Creedic and from the Harrisburg Chamber. And your firm now ranks 15th among the world's 50 best companies for search engine optimization. You might have even moved up. Or are you still at 5th? What exactly is it that you do?
Yes.
Explain that to
Absolutely. So what we do is we take our customers, businesses locally, nationally, wherever they may be. Somebody goes to Google, certainly they're searching for a new product or an information or services, and we get our customers into the first position in Google primarily. As people click through those search results, our customers then get that traffic and ultimately business, whether that's e-commerce sales or leads or phone calls or maybe patrons even in their store.
You explained it to me as measured marketing.
It is.
What are you able to do that a lot of other forms of advertising are not able to do?
Sure, absolutely. Well, what we can do is if somebody puts $1 in at WebpageFX, we're able to measure that dollar. So sometimes it would be difficult for TV or radio or a billboard or something like that to figure out your true return on investment. So when somebody puts $1 in with us, let's say we're able to figure out, let's say we push 100 visitors to their website. Of those 100, how many people contacted them? Typically, we might put that into a lead management system or a CRM, something that they can track. We can also track, let's say somebody on their website placed a telephone call. We can track that telephone call. So ultimately we can figure out, okay, these are the people contacting our customer. And then ultimately what we ask typically from our customer, how much is a new customer worth to you? How much is a lead worth to you? And we can figure out the exact return on investment so that they're putting in.
A couple cool things here. Both you and your wife started this company,
we did,
right?
Yep.
You're Shippensburg University grad.
Yes.
She had a 3.95 in math.
She did.
They didn't list on the website what your grade point average was, so maybe you had other skills besides that. But you're now called essentially the Silicon Valley down there in Carlisle at the Murata Business Center of here in Central Pennsylvania. You had the seed of an idea. You planted it at the Murata Center. Why? Why did you decide to go out on your own with your own job, essentially inventing your future?
Sure. Well, I mean, the reality was there was no positions. I love search engine optimization. I love internet marketing. I feel like that was what I was almost born to do. And at the time, there was no businesses in this area hiring for that position. So essentially what happened was I couldn't find a position of what I wanted to do, so we decided, my wife came from a computer science, internet marketing background, so we basically invented the business, and we started because there was no main employer for us to go to in this area, and that's kind of how it started. Now,
you're over $1 million now in net sales?
Yep, going over 2 this year. Yep.
Over 2.
Yep.
So huge growth.
Yep.
Matt Crocker, these are the kind of folks you want to keep here in Pennsylvania, you want to attract here to Pennsylvania to prevent that dreaded thing we call brain drain.
Certainly.
How's that working out?
It's actually working out pretty well. We're seeing an extraordinary growth within the young professional organization, and then also with the participation of just young professionals in general in the area, reaching out to an extraordinarily larger group and trying to pull in even some of the more fledgling young professional organizations in the region and other counties, and looking to them, and they're looking to us as well, for ideas on how to grow their young professional base. We continually try to pick from the best and the brightest within the organization to lead the organization and and be dynamic in the approach. That there is an enormous demand for these types of what we'll call newer jobs of the new millennium. That you really need to pull in. I think these specific types of talent And that's what we do. We look to garner that talent and provide them with the knowledge that this is a place where you can grow a life and really, I think, pull in a lot of the other aspects that people are looking for when they look at larger cities. And there's a lot of draw out there. We try to draw them in here as well with our approach.
You went a more traditional route in terms of working for a company that was established. You're a vice president there. But is it a question of you got that job and in your mind you've got that job for as long as you want it? Or is it a constant process of keeping your skills up, of looking around, of trying to help grow that company?
Well, absolutely right. And what I'm looking for within my position and within my organization is to continue to grow it, but also to make it as cutting edge as we possibly can. And
well, you're both young guys. You're 31. How old are you?
33.
33.
You're
yep, 35.
You're 35. So
yep.
33, 35. Does this stuff scare you a bit? That this idea that there might not be any security out there?
Not at all.
You're out there on the tight.
I think the security is in your own skill sets. Sure. You know. So I mean, I take at least 1 hour every day, and I sit and read on what's going on in the industry. I keep my skills up to date, and if you're able to do that and to stay on top of your game, there will always be a demand for, if you can provide those types of skills coming into an employer to drive return on investment.
All right, we probably have some young people who might be out there watching,
yeah.
or their parents or grandparents who are saying, I want my kid to get this kind of job.
Yeah.
For an employee, what are you looking for? What are the skills? What are the talents? What are the kind of communications looks that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for us is, I would say, a thirst for knowledge, right? Because, I mean, it seems like almost every month we're retooling process, we're retooling the product that we're giving the customer. Things in the search industry, Google makes 400 changes to its algorithm, how it ranks websites every year. So everybody on our team has to be moving as fast as possible and staying on the industry. So that's probably one of the biggest things is, hey, is this person, are they going to go out? Are they going to figure out, are they going to stay up on the industry? Are they going to watch things? Are they going to do their own research and testing and do some data analysis for their clients to really continue them, to move them forward? I mean, certainly you look for hard work. You look for people that have great communication skills. Certainly, I mean, I think that's what a lot of employers are saying is, hey, we could use some help on the soft side of the skill sets. The ability to work on teams, the ability, to be flexible, to go from one task to another task. People on our team might work on 20 different projects in a day. Certainly, they're jumping around.
So, Matt Crocker, you have a young professional out there right now tonight who's watching and thinking, I do have the germ of an idea, and I'd like to plan it. I'd like to get it going. Where are you directing those folks, and how do you get a synergy going here in central Pennsylvania to be a hub of innovation?
Right. Essentially what you're looking at is the ability to network, and that is going to be an extraordinarily important skill, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur such as Bill, to be able to build your business, to know the right people, I don't want to say necessarily to have the right connections in quotes, but to know the right people, know the right people to call in order to expand your business and remain continue to remain competitive. The other thing too is that you're gonna draw on what Bill talked about, that thirst of knowledge, and it's a constant race that you're going to run to work at your job and your company, make it better, but then also as well to develop your interpersonal skills and your intellectual and your intellectual abilities.
Right. I want to give a shout out to Rich Madera, who's with Ingenuity Energy, a friend of yours.
Sure.
He suggested this segment. He said, talk to young people about what's happening with the business climate in Pennsylvania. At about the same time, I had read a piece by Thomas Friedman, who writes for the New York Times, and he had a column in which he essentially said that young people today, in your generation, and even the 10 years behind you,
sure,
have to invent their own futures. Consider this: Facebook valued at $100 billion, Twitter $8 billion, Groupon $30 billion, Zynga $20 billion, LinkedIn $8 billion. They're the fastest growing social network companies in the world, and yet all of their employees combined could fit into Madison Square Garden. These huge companies don't hire a lot of people. Therefore, the imperative for millennials, these young people, is to think critically, to constantly adapt their skills, and to invent their own jobs and justify their positions if they're at an established company. To an older person like myself, that can be terrifying. And you say, bring it on.
Yeah.
How though? How do you constantly stay on top of things?
I mean, I guess at WebpageFX, I mean, our strive is, you said we're 15th. Our goal is to be number one, right? And everybody at our company, and I would say it's a good example bringing people to the Harrisburg region. We've recruited people as far away as the UK that have moved to Carlisle, Pennsylvania to do search engine optimization at WebpageFX.
You told me that your folks who work there typically work maybe 40 hours work at your company.
Yep.
But then on their own time, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, they're reading blogs, they're keeping up on the industry, they're refining their skills, they're bringing new technology into the office to continue the company moving forward. So, I mean, the beauty of that is that it's completely merit-based at WebpageFX. If somebody comes in, they can be 21, 22 years old. In 3 years, if they're doing an awesome job, if they're delivering amazing results for their clients, they can be a senior person. And certainly, it's not the raise of 1 or 2% that, that corporate structure you have to be at a company for 20, 30 years to be in a senior role making what I consider a very substantial salary in central Pennsylvania. People can hit it extremely early in their career, but they've got to be putting the elbow grease into getting the job done.
One of the other things you mentioned, I think just a minute ago, too, is 90% of your business still U.S.-based, but you have 10% that might be international.
Yep.
Do you intend to go after that international market? And if so,
absolutely.
Is that sort of the reverse of outsourcing? And all those jobs we've offshored, you could start taking some of that work from overseas and bringing it here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we want to be one of the top companies in the world, whether that's, doing internet marketing in, North America, certainly, a decent number of customers that would fall into, Canada, but yeah, certainly going into your European markets, the UK. Absolutely, those continue to be on our radar and our opportunities for us here.
But Matt, give us a sense, is that really the exception to the rule here in central Pennsylvania? Or do you think it's really just the beginning of a trend that we can see this kind of innovation?
Well, I think the obvious answer is that it's going to continue to be a trend as long as we have the entrepreneurs here that are going to drive it. As long as we have the support within the region to continue to drive these efforts to provide the talent that you need.
Let me tie in a little bit of what we talked about in the first segment. We were talking a bit about government dysfunction, though. Mm-hmm. You look at Congress, the debt ceiling debate that essentially became a disaster, and then now you have this issue of the Deficit Reduction Committee trying to meet to forge consensus on this, the jobs bills out there. Then you look locally here in Harrisburg, and you have a lot of problems between the mayor and the city council. How does that affect entrepreneurs or business people who want to continue to invest in the community here, and with this idea of government possibly not being a partner in that and in effect hindering it?
Sure. Well, the hindrance obviously is going to be a detriment, but you want to look to see if the government can pretty much just step out of the way and allow you to compete in what's more of a purely free market. And what Kevin had pointed out earlier.
Do you guys feel the need, though, to inject yourself more in that conversation to say, you have got to get your act together, government, or we're killing business here? You're not going to want to invest in Harrisburg or the greater Harrisburg area if there's so much dysfunction.
Sure. I mean, I certainly think so. There's certainly a regional approach to this area. Harrisburg is one part of it. And I think that you're going to see a lot of the entrepreneurial desire to outpace a lot of that government dysfunction, and what I mean by that is pretty much rising above it and taking it in stride.
Bill, your thoughts. The bottom line tonight is, how do we jumpstart jobs in this country?
Yep.
What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of like AA. One of the first things you do is admitting you have a problem, right? So, I mean, I think in general the country spends too much money on, let's say, defense, maybe health care, other entitlements out there. I think it really needs to take some of that money, and everybody needs to realize that this is a global marketplace. Hey, we could use more demand, we could use more jobs in the United States. The United States is going head-to-head with China. It's going head-to-head with India. It's going head-to-head with Brazil. And, people need to realize that. And, as in general, I think the government needs to say, hey, stimulus and jobs need to be a higher priority when they're slicing up the pie, and make reinvestments in, education, technology, even retraining. It could be an auto worker being retrained to do, I think it was in the earlier portion, wind turbines or something like that. But I think those things kind of need to occur. And, I think we kind of need to go on the offensive here as a country. and use the resources that we have to generate jobs, and ultimately those jobs bring in new revenues, and we're able to rise out of this.
We wish you continued success and prosperity in the economy. Matt, thanks so much for all the good work you're doing, too.
Certainly.
All right, if you missed any portion of the program, be sure to check it out online at WITF.org. Just click the on-demand video link at the top of the page. I'd like to thank all our guests and you for joining the conversation. A program note, Smart Talk will be off next week, but we will return on October 6th for a community forum focusing on breast cancer. It's part of WITF's Facing Cancer Together. From all of us at WITF, we wish you well.
Electric Utilities, which offers information to help consumers save energy. More at pplelectric.com. And by viewers like you. Thank you.